Ladies and gentlemen, there is a powerful truth that many people have not yet realized. You were born to lead. Leadership is not reserved for a select few. It is the birthright of every individual who dares to discover their true authority. When you look at history, the greatest leaders were not necessarily those born into royalty or positions of power. They were individuals who recognized their purpose, embraced their vision, and influenced others through the power of their convictions. Leadership is not about controlling people. It is about serving others with your gift and guiding them toward a greater purpose. Leadership is inherent, not assigned. Many believe leadership is given by society, a title, or an organization. But the reality is that leadership is not a title you wear. It is a nature you develop. You were created with the potential to lead because inside you is a unique gift that the world needs. True leadership is about self-discovery. It is about knowing who you are, understanding your potential, and walking confidently in your calling. Until you discover who you truly are, you will always follow the expectations of others rather than lead with purpose. Authority comes from purpose. Leadership is not about demanding authority. It is about becoming an authority in your area of gifting. The moment you recognize your purpose, you will discover the authority you were born with. Authority does not come from positions. It comes from knowing why you exist and living with confidence in that knowledge. A teacher who understands their purpose will inspire generations. A doctor who is passionate about healing will transform lives. A business person who operates with integrity will influence economies. When you walk in your purpose, you don't have to seek authority. Authority will find you, developing the leader within. Though you were born to lead, leadership must be developed. Education is key. But I'm not just talking about academic education. I'm talking about the education of self-awareness, wisdom, and discipline. True leaders never stop learning. They read, they grow, they seek knowledge, and they apply what they learn. Discipline is another critical factor. Leadership requires responsibility, patience, and endurance. A true leader is not swayed by emotions or circumstances, but remains focused on their vision. Impact over position leadership is not about power. It is about impact. A true leader does not seek to dominate, but to inspire. Leadership is not about forcing people to follow. It is about living in such a way that people are drawn to follow you. Your authority is in your influence. People will listen to you not because you have a title, but because you have wisdom, vision, and integrity. The greatest leaders in history are remembered not for their positions, but for their impact on humanity. Many people have been conditioned to believe that leadership is a privilege reserved for a select few, those born into power, elected by society, or appointed by an organization. This misunderstanding has led countless individuals to shrink back from their potential, assuming that leadership is something they must be given rather than something they already possess. However, true leadership is not assigned by human institutions. It is an inherent quality placed within every individual from birth. Leadership is a natural ability, a dormant seed waiting to be discovered, cultivated, and manifested. It is not dependent on external validation, but rather on self-awareness and the recognition of one's unique potential. From the moment you were born, you were designed with the ability to lead. Leadership is not about holding a title or being in charge of people. It is about influence, purpose, and direction. The greatest leaders in history did not wait for permission to lead. They did not need a position to begin making an impact. Instead, they recognized something within themselves, a vision, a passion, a conviction that compelled them to take action. They understood that leadership is about being rather than merely doing. It is a state of mind, a way of thinking, and a commitment to serving others through one's unique gifts. One of the fundamental truths about leadership is that every individual is born with the potential to lead in their own sphere of influence. This means that leadership is not a role confined to politics, business, or formal institutions. A teacher who inspires students to think critically and pursue excellence is a leader. A parent who nurtures their children with wisdom and guidance is a leader. A young student who stands up for what is right in the face of peer pressure is a leader. Leadership is embedded in human nature. It is an expression of one's ability to shape the world through values, actions, and purpose. Many people never tap into their inherent leadership potential because they have been taught that leaders are a special class of individuals, chosen by external forces rather than self-identified. This belief system has caused a dependency on others to define one's capabilities. People wait for a title, a promotion, or an opportunity to be granted to them before they step into leadership. As a result, many die without ever realizing that they were already equipped with everything they needed to lead. This is why self-discovery is a crucial part of unlocking leadership. Until a person understands who they are and the value they bring, they will continue to follow rather than take initiative. Leadership is about taking responsibility for one's own life. It is about recognizing that no one else is responsible for your growth, success, or impact. The moment you understand that you have been given the power to influence your environment, you will stop waiting for permission to lead. The world does not need more people seeking titles. It needs people who are willing to rise up, take ownership of their gifts, and use them to make a difference. Leadership begins the moment you decide to step into your purpose with confidence, regardless of whether others recognize it. One of the greatest mistakes people make is equating leadership with control. Leadership is not about ruling over others. It is about guiding, inspiring, and empowering those around you. The best leaders do not see themselves as superior to others, but as servants of a greater cause. They lead not by force, but by example, demonstrating integrity, wisdom, and vision. This is why true leadership cannot be assigned, it must be embodied. You do not become a leader when someone gives you a title. You become a leader when you recognize your potential, develop your skills, and live in alignment with your purpose. Another critical aspect of inherent leadership is the understanding that every person is designed to lead in their own unique way. Leadership is not about competition or comparison, it is about contribution. Not everyone is called to lead in the same capacity, but everyone is called to lead in some capacity. A musician leads by bringing beauty and inspiration through their art. A scientist leads by pushing the boundaries of knowledge and discovery. A community leader influences positive change by addressing social issues. Leadership is not about where you lead, but about how you use your gift to serve and uplift others. History is filled with examples of people who embraced their natural leadership without waiting for an official position. Many of the greatest inventors, reformers, and visionaries were not given authority by an institution. They took responsibility for solving a problem, filling a need, or challenging a broken system. Their leadership was defined not by their title, but by their impact. These individuals remind us that leadership is about initiative, the courage to take action in alignment with a higher purpose. For those who struggle to see themselves as leaders, the key is to start where you are. Leadership does not begin on a stage or in a boardroom. It begins in the small, everyday decisions you make. It begins in how you handle challenges, how you treat others, and how you develop your personal character. The moment you begin to take responsibility for your life, make choices that reflect your values, and seek to contribute rather than consume, you are already leading. Leadership is who you are, not just what you do. You were born to lead not because of a title, but because of the unique purpose placed within you. Your leadership is not something to be given, It is something to be discovered and activated. The sooner you embrace this truth, the sooner you will begin to walk in the authority that was meant for you. Authority is one of the most misunderstood concepts in leadership. Many believe that authority is something granted by institutions, positions, or social status. They assume that in order to have influence, they must first be given permission by others. However, true authority does not come from a title, it comes from purpose. When a person discovers their true purpose, they naturally step into authority, not because it is given to them, but because they have become an expert in their area of gifting. Purpose is the foundation of authentic authority, and without it, any position of leadership becomes weak and unsustainable. Authority is not about controlling people, it is about having mastery over an area of life. The moment you recognize your purpose, you gain a level of confidence, clarity, and conviction that allows you to influence others effortlessly. People are drawn to those who have a clear sense of direction. And when you operate in your purpose, you exude a sense of certainty that inspires trust and respect. This is why some individuals, despite not having formal titles or positions, hold more influence than those who do. They have discovered their true authority by aligning with their purpose. Purpose is what makes a leader stand out. It gives them a sense of mission, a reason to wake up every morning with determination. Without purpose, leadership becomes hollow, driven only by external rewards rather than a deep inner conviction. When a person understands why they exist and what they are meant to contribute to the world, they gain an inner strength that no external circumstance can shake. This is why purpose-driven leaders are unstoppable. They are not seeking authority from others. Their authority comes from within. Every person on this planet was born with a unique purpose. This purpose is not something that can be assigned by society. It is something that must be discovered. When a person finds their purpose, they tap into their natural strengths and gifts, and in doing so, they gain influence in their area of expertise. A scientist who is passionate about research becomes an authority in their field, not because they were given a title, but because they have dedicated themselves to understanding and mastering their subject. A musician becomes an authority in their craft, not because they were appointed by an organization, but because they have honed their skills and touched lives with their art. People often struggle to find their authority because they are focused on seeking approval rather than seeking purpose. They want positions, recognition, and validation, believing that these things will make them leaders. But history has shown that the most impactful leaders were not those who chased titles, but those who discovered and committed to their purpose. When a person is passionate about solving a problem, creating something meaningful, or serving others in a significant way, their authority becomes evident. Others begin to recognize them as a leader, not because they demanded it, but because they proved it through their actions. Authority that is based on purpose is self-sustaining. It does not require constant reinforcement or validation from others. A person who has discovered their true calling does not need to prove themselves. Their work speaks for itself. They are not shaken by criticism, nor are they dependent on external praise, because they are driven by something greater than opinions. This is why leaders who operate from a place of purpose tend to have lasting influence. They are not merely filling a role, they are fulfilling a destiny. The difference between positional authority and purpose-driven authority is striking. Positional authority is temporary. It exists only as long as the person holds a specific title or status. The moment they lose their position, their authority disappears. But purpose-driven authority is permanent. Even if a person loses their title, they remain influential, because their authority is not tied to their position. It is tied to who they are and what they represent. This is why people like inventors, philosophers, and reformers continue to influence the world long after they are gone. Their authority was never about a title. It was about the purpose they embodied. One of the greatest dangers a person can face is living without discovering their purpose. Without purpose, people are easily swayed by trends, expectations, and external pressures. They try to fit into roles that were never meant for them, chasing careers, relationships, and lifestyles that do not align with their true calling. This leads to frustration, dissatisfaction, and a lack of fulfillment. But when a person finds their purpose, everything changes. They no longer waste time trying to impress others. Instead, they focus on developing their skills, deepening their knowledge, and making a meaningful impact. Discovering purpose requires self-exploration, learning, and sometimes unlearning. It requires asking deep questions. What am I passionate about? What problems do I feel called to solve? What talents and gifts have I been given? These questions lead to self-discovery. And once a person finds their purpose, their authority begins to emerge naturally. They do not have to force themselves into leadership. Leadership becomes a byproduct of their commitment to purpose. When people operate outside of their purpose, they struggle to gain respect and influence. They may hold a high position, but without true authority, they constantly have to assert themselves, demand obedience, and use force to maintain control. On the other hand, a person who walks in purpose does not need to demand respect. It is given to them willingly. People trust leaders who have a clear vision, deep conviction, and unwavering commitment to their mission. In every industry, in every generation, and in every community, the most influential figures are those who have aligned themselves with their purpose. They are not waiting for someone to appoint them. They are already walking in their authority. They do not fear competition because they know that no one else can fulfill their role in the exact way they were meant to. They do not seek to imitate others because they understand that their power comes from originality, authenticity, and a unique contribution that only they can bring to the world. The moment a person discovers their purpose, they stop seeking permission to lead. They step into their authority with confidence, knowing that they have something valuable to offer. The world does not give them authority. Purpose does. Authority is not granted by an institution. It is activated when a person embraces their reason for existence. The greatest leaders are not those with the loudest voices or the highest positions, but those with the clearest sense of purpose. Leadership is not an external achievement. It is an internal transformation. Every individual is born with the capacity to lead, but leadership must be developed through knowledge, discipline, and self-growth. True leadership does not come from a title or position. It is the result of continuous learning, self-awareness, and intentional development. Just as a seed contains the potential to become a great tree, every person has leadership potential within them. However, without cultivation, nurturing, and the right conditions, that potential remains dormant. The difference between those who lead effectively and those who do not is their commitment to personal development. Leadership begins with self-discovery. A person cannot lead others effectively if they do not first understand themselves. Self-discovery involves identifying strengths, weaknesses, passions, and values. It requires deep introspection, asking questions like, what am I naturally good at? What challenges excite me? What principles do I stand for? The more a person understands their unique design, the more effectively they can lead. Leadership is not about copying others. It is about becoming the best version of oneself. People admire and follow those who are authentic, self-aware, and confident in their own identity. Education is a crucial part of developing leadership. However, true education is not just about acquiring academic degrees. It is about gaining wisdom, practical knowledge, and understanding. Many people believe that leadership is about intelligence alone, but intelligence without wisdom can be dangerous. Leadership requires the ability to make sound decisions, solve problems, and navigate challenges with clarity. Great leaders are lifelong learners. They read, ask questions, seek mentors, and constantly expand their knowledge. They understand that learning is not a phase but a lifestyle. A leader who stops learning has already begun to decline. Discipline is another essential ingredient in leadership development. Many people desire to lead, but few are willing to put in the effort to develop the habits, character, and resilience required for leadership. Leadership is not about doing what is easy. It is about doing what is right, even when it is difficult. Discipline means having the ability to control emotions, stay focused, and remain committed to a vision despite obstacles. A person who lacks discipline will struggle to maintain influence because they will be easily distracted, discouraged, or swayed by circumstances. Leaders must develop emotional intelligence, which includes self-control, patience, and the ability to handle criticism constructively. Character is the foundation of sustainable leadership. Many people can gain influence temporarily through charisma, talent, or clever strategies, but only those with strong character can lead effectively in the long run. Character is built through integrity, honesty, humility, and consistency. A leader's words and actions must align. Otherwise, they lose credibility. People do not follow those they do not trust. This is why character development is just as important as skill development in leadership. A person may be highly skilled, but without moral strength, their leadership will eventually collapse. A critical part of developing leadership is learning from experiences. Every challenge, failure, and success carries a lesson that contributes to growth. Many people avoid difficulties, but true leaders embrace challenges as opportunities for refinement. Mistakes are not the end, they are stepping stones to wisdom. Leaders who have experienced setbacks and learned from them become stronger, wiser, and more effective. They do not fear failure because they understand that every experience, whether good or bad, shapes them into a better version of themselves. Leadership is also about serving others. The greatest leaders are not those who seek to dominate or control, but those who dedicate themselves to helping others grow and succeed. Leadership is not about self-promotion. It is about making a meaningful impact. This requires empathy, compassion, and a heart for people. A leader must be willing to listen, understand the needs of others, and inspire them toward a common goal. Leadership is not about taking. It is about giving. Those who develop a servant's heart naturally gain influence because people trust and respect those who genuinely care. Vision is another defining quality of a developed leader. A leader must have a clear sense of direction and the ability to communicate that vision effectively. People are drawn to those who see possibilities beyond the present and who can paint a picture of a better future. However, vision alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by action, strategy, and perseverance. Many people have ideas, but only true leaders have the discipline to turn those ideas into reality. Developing leadership requires surrounding oneself with the right people. A leader is only as strong as their environment. Those who spend time with wise, successful, and visionary individuals will naturally develop those qualities in themselves. Seeking mentors, engaging in meaningful conversations, and building relationships with people who challenge and inspire growth is essential. Isolation limits development, but iron sharpens iron. Leaders grow by learning from others. Communication is another essential skill in leadership. A leader must be able to articulate their thoughts, inspire confidence, and connect with others through words. Leadership is not just about having great ideas. It is about effectively expressing those ideas in a way that moves people to action. Whether through public speaking, writing, or one-on-one conversations, the ability to communicate with clarity, conviction, and emotional intelligence is a critical part of leadership development. One of the biggest barriers to leadership growth is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, and fear of stepping into the unknown. Many people remain in the background, never stepping into leadership because they doubt their abilities. But leadership is not about waiting until you feel ready. It is about taking action despite fear. Confidence is built through experience, not before it. Leaders are those who step forward even when they feel uncertain, knowing that growth happens outside of comfort zones. Another key aspect of leadership development is accountability. A true leader does not isolate themselves from feedback or correction. They surround themselves with people who will challenge them to improve and hold them to high standards. Leaders are open to learning from their mistakes, listening to constructive criticism, and making adjustments when necessary. Pride and arrogance prevent growth. But humility allows a leader to refine their approach and become better over time. Leadership is not an event, it is a process. It does not happen overnight, but requires consistent investment in personal growth, skill development, and character building. The greatest leaders are not those who are born with special privileges, but those who committed themselves to learning, growing, and becoming better every day. Leadership is developed through intentional effort, and those who embrace this journey will naturally rise to positions of influence, not because they sought power, but because they became the kind of person others want to follow. Leadership is not about position, power, or authority enforced by external means. It is about influence. Influence is the ability to impact the thoughts, actions, and lives of others without coercion. True leadership is not determined by titles, wealth, or status, but by the capacity to inspire, guide, and positively affect those around you. A person can have a high-ranking position and still lack influence, while another can have no official title, yet command the respect and trust of many. The true measure of leadership is not in how many people obey orders, but in how many people are inspired, empowered, and transformed by a leader's example and vision.